Your gifts matter. Thank you for giving. I hope that video encourages you. Those of you who are part of giving, wherever you are in your giving journey, thank you for your gifts. If you haven't joined us yet, if we're your church and you haven't joined us in this giving thing yet, really encourage you to do that, to join with us. God takes what we give and multiplies it and does eternal things in the lives of people around the world. And so we get to be part of all that. So we want to invite you to join us. This weekend, we're on the tail end. We're wrapping up our groundbreaking offering for this welcome project that we've got going on. It's the building that you see. Well, it's the destruction so far. Construction's coming. We're in the start of this project, and we're really excited about how God's going to use this project and use us to welcome people into life with Him, our lives, our church, the mission vision that He's given to us. And this groundbreaking offering that we're doing, so it started last weekend, it's finishing up this weekend. The point of this whole thing is 100% of the people who call Christ Community their church to give to this. And so last week, as of Friday, 109 households had given to the project, so awesome start. If you're part of Christ Community and you haven't given yet, join us in this. We don't want you to miss out. This offering is gonna close officially. It's gonna close at the end of the weekend, but you can still give to the project as we go through. So we're excited to be in this together. If you are not part of Christ Community and you're here in the room or you're with us online, pay attention to what's happening, see this thing. At the end of the service, I think we're gonna hand you cards. Those of you who are in the room online, you can go to the Welcome Project on our website, see what we're building, more importantly, see why we're building it, and just be excited with us about these good things that are happening. So I'm really glad that we get to be part of this together. Join us in giving to this if you haven't yet. So excited for this. I'm excited for this weekend too. So I read a joke this week that I think is funny. I have a sophisticated sense of humor, so you may not, but we're just gonna go for it anyway to begin our time together. So this young man was at his doctor's appointment, and he was talking about the things that are going on in his life. His doctor was getting the information from him about it. He was talking about this relationship that he has with this young lady, and the doctor says to him, he says, it sounds like you have a phobia of marriage. Do you see any symptoms? And the young man thought for a second, and he said, can't say that I do. And the doctor said, that's the main one. Right? You think it's funny too. All right, we're for this. We're off to a great start today. So thanks for thinking it's funny with me. So human beings, we tend to be hesitant in being deep in our relationships with each other. We hesitate when it comes time to step deeper into each other's lives. And we have good reasons for that. We have good reasons for that. Because most of us, we know a good part of ourselves. We don't know ourselves completely, but we know ourselves. We know ourselves enough. And we know there are parts of us that maybe aren't that attractive, parts of us where we have weaknesses, we have vulnerabilities, and nobody really wants to put the weaknesses and the vulnerabilities on display in their life. And so we cover ourselves up and we protect ourselves and we kind of put on a front and make sure we show to other people only the parts of them that we want them to see. And that's how hesitancy, that's one of the ways that hesitancy in relationship expresses itself. And so we're hesitant sometimes because we've got stuff that we don't want other people to know about in our lives. If they know about it, we don't know exactly what's gonna happen from there. And sometimes we keep things on the surface in our relationship because I know I've got junk and I'm pretty sure you've got junk. And if you're messy, if you show your mess to me, that might require something of me to be involved that maybe I don't know how to be involved, or level of engagement that I'm unwilling to engage. And so we just kind of keep things on the surface levels in our relationships. We hesitate in going deep in our relationships. We've all been hurt. We've all been hurt by somebody else. You've been transparent with them. You've been vulnerable with them, and they have taken advantage of that in some way, and they have hurt you. And nobody wants to be hurt again. And so we're hesitant in being intimate. We're hesitant in going deeper in our relationships. And these hesitances that we have in our individual relationships, like our human relationships, it also kind of carries over into our relationship with God. We're hesitant to be intimate with each other. We're also hesitant for intimacy in our relationship with God for a variety of reasons. And as I was thinking about that and prep for our time together this weekend, it expresses itself really like what I mainly see in me and I see in a lot of people, like the reasons for that being cool at surface level relationship with God, they're varied. But here's how it expresses itself in our lives. We kind of get to this point where we're comfortable with our relationship with God. Like it's good enough. It's where it is. I'm good with it. I hope he's good with it. I'm pretty sure he's good with it. I'm good with it. It works for me in this busy season of my life. And there's this comfortableness that we settle into and we settle with, we settle for, where here's what I'm willing to give, and here's how much I want, and here's how much of you I'd like to receive, here's how much of me you can have, and we find this comfortable spot where it works for us in the way we're living our life right now, and we just call it good. And we hesitate to step deeper into a relationship even with God. And what we're gonna see at the end of our time together today is if you settle for the comfortable spot, like if you settle for where it is, where you're like, hey, I'm pretty sure he's good with me, I'm good with him, I'm good with where it is, he works for me in my busy life right now. Like if you're there, you are missing out. You are missing out on being all of who God made you to be and having the kind of life that he wants you to have. So we're in this series for a little bit here at the first part of this summer. It's called Words, and we're kind of making our way through various Psalms. Psalms are the ancient prayers of God's people, and really the goal of this series is for us to make these prayers our prayer too. And so today we're going to be talking about Psalm 139. Psalm 139 it's an expression of the psalmist's joy in having an intimate relationship with God. Like it's a celebration of intimacy in a relationship. And it's this beautiful expression of who he is and where he is in his relationship with God, and of his desire for more in that relationship, and his deep desire for more in that relationship. And again, as we get to the end of this time together, we're gonna see that when you're experiencing relationship with God, it opens you up to the opportunity to experience more of who he has and more of who he is and more of what he has for you. So Psalm 139 starts with this little statement. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. So my first reaction in reading that sentence, and I actually wrote it on my notes as I was like it was the first thing I wrote in my note taking as I'm working through this psalm for our time together this weekend. I wrote, uh-oh, right? Like, you've searched me, Lord, and you know me. And my response to that is, uh-oh. No, like knowing me and knowing what goes on inside of me and knowing the junk, some of the junk that's in my life, my initial response to that is, ooh, I'm not sure how I feel about this. That I have been searched by he hadn't just looked at me, he has searched me. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. He's deeply involved with who I am. Like there's nothing hidden in me from him. And so I read this first line and I'm like, there's no hiding from God. Like if I can't hide, my first response is like, uh-oh, to that. And then the psalmist goes on, and this is kind of what that searching looks like from God. He says, you know when I sit and when I rise. You know when I sit down and you know when I stand up, just like the mundane stuff going on in my life of what I'm doing. You perceive my thoughts from afar. This is God at a distance, and he knows what's going on in here. And like you perceive my thoughts, you discern my going out and my lying down. So what I'm up to in my day, when it starts, how it starts, where I go, when it's over. Like you see all of that. You're paying attention to all that. You're familiar with all my ways. And before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. And that last word there, like that last word of this verse, I think is an important one to grab. Completely. This is God searching and knowing, and he knows us completely. And when I think about, like, he knows you completely, he knows me completely, do we want to run back to that expression of, uh-oh, right? I am known, I'm completely known. And if I'm completely known, now my weaknesses and now my vulnerabilities are out there in full view, not of you, but of God. And if I am completely known, my weaknesses and my vulnerabilities are, I feel exposed. I feel at risk. I feel like I might be in danger. If I am fully known, that for me causes a lot of fear and anxiety and wondering about what's going to happen, what happens next in this. And so the psalmist begins to talk through, and this next comment then is really important. He says, you hem me in behind and before. You lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. And this is really just an expression of gratitude, and it's a celebration of intimacy, because when you're fully known and you feel exposed and you feel vulnerable, God doesn't leave you hanging out there feeling open and vulnerable and exposed and in danger. What he does is he steps into that and you hem me in. You know, like you get in front of me and you get behind me, and the idea is kind of almost like of ancient warfare of a siege, where one army would come and just wrap itself completely around a place that they were a group of people that they were going to take, and they just stayed there. And it's in a positive spin. This God, he steps in and he wraps himself around me. You hem me in behind, before, and on top. Like, you lay your hand upon me. And so this is this beautiful celebration of God and of how he engages with people as he sees us for who we really are. And he knows all the stuff. He knows what you're thinking. He knows what you're doing. He's fully engaged. Like, he knows all the stuff. And instead of being horrified by it, instead of backing away from it, he steps in. And instead of leaving us at risk, he keeps us safe in all of that. He hems you in behind and before, and he lays his hand upon you. And that's God from the outside. And then this next little section, again, talking about the intimacy of God, it gets better. Like, he just steps into it. In verse 7, he says, where can I go from your spirit? So God sees and he hears and he knows, and he knows completely. And so now we're not just talking about God at a distance and what he sees. Now we're talking about God up close and personal. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? So the big word that, like, theologians would hang on this is the omnipresence of God. It means that God's present everywhere all the time. This is more than that. This is more than that. This is, you are always with me. You're not just God everywhere, but you are always with me. This isn't just God's behind the scenes presence in all of creation. This is what some would call like the manifest presence of God. This is the known presence of God. This is the experienced presence of God. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? And we get to be present. Like, he's with you. He's with you. He's always with you, not in a behind the scenes kind of way, but like in this intimate relationship. For people who are open to this and pursuing this, like, you get to experience the presence of God. Where can I go from your presence? Where can I flee from your spirit, from your up close person? Then it keeps moving. If I go up to the heavens, you're there. So if I go to the highest spots, if I go to the heavens, you're there. If I make my bed in the depths, you're there. Either high or low, there you are. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, as far as I can see into the east where the sun comes up, if I rise on the wings of the dawn, If I settle on the far side of the sea from where the psalmist is writing, the sea is to his west. He's thinking sunrise to sunset. Like if I'm there, if you're there, if I rise in the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there, your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. So I have this original painting by an artist named Stephanie Cherry on the wall in my office at home. And I took this picture of it. I'm gonna show it to you. And this picture doesn't really do it justice because I took the picture of it. And so, we did our best with it here, but it's this beautiful picture. And you hear kind of like, if you look at it and you kind of see, if I'm in heaven, if I'm in the depths, if I'm on the far side of the sea. So even there, and I don't know if you can kind of notice that there's kind of the dove-looking piece there that is the Spirit of God. And so I saw this painting. Marie and I were at a fundraising banquet for Heart of Texas Pregnancy Resource Center, and we lived in Austin, Texas, and this group of people that we loved, a ministry that we're really for. And we were at their fundraising banquet, and this thing was part of the silent auction. And I am not like this might surprise you, but I'm not super touchy-feely, and I'm not very sensitive. So thank you for laughing. I'm just not. But I walked past this painting, like I'm perusing the auction items and seeing if there's like an autographed picture of one of my favorite sports heroes or something to bid on. And I see this thing. And I'm just moved by the painting. And then I read, this is, the title of this painting is Even There. And Stephanie Cherry, in her little explanation of the painting, says this is from Psalm 139, verses 7 and 8. No matter where I go, you're there with me. And so I didn't even check with Marie. I just bid on this painting. And so we went to our table and we sat down. Marie and I were table hosts, and our friends Reese and Kelly were there too. And I was talking about this painting that I bid on and Reese says, I bid on it too. They were our guests. We paid for their dinner, and now he's bidding on it. And so we spent the evening driving up the price of this painting back and forth. And we got to the end of the evening, and they announced the winners of the silent auction, and Reese won. And then as they were leaving, he handed it to me. And it's like, so I love this painting for a lot of reasons, but it moves me. And it's a statement of friendship and joy from a fun evening that we had. And it's this awesome reminder that no matter where we go, even there we get to enjoy the presence of God. And he's always present. Hold on to this. He's always present for your good. For your good. He's not present checking up on you. He's not present with a grumpy look on his face and folded arms and how disappointed he is. He's not present like that. He's present. He's present for your good. Even if you're in the highest heavens, if you're in the lowest depths, if you're this end, if you're that end, he's there, and he's there to guide you and to lead you home. Heaven's depths, sunrise, sunset, even there. And then there's one more little word we need to add to the presence of God, and that is where he's there, it's the darkness. Verses 11 and 12, if I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me. If I think the darkness is gonna swallow me up, if I think that the darkness that's going on in my life, the darkness that's going on around me is going to separate me from this God who sees me and who knows me completely. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like day, for darkness is as light to you. Physical darkness, emotional darkness, the darkness of your own sin, the darkness of what other people are saying about you or what somebody else has done or is doing to you. It's darkness to us, But even the darkness in our lives is not dark to God, who is always present with us. This reminds me so much of something that the Apostle John wrote about 1,000 years later, and he was speaking of Jesus. And he said, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not, cannot, will not overcome it. This is this beautiful statement about who God is in the worst seasons of our lives, in the most difficult things that you and I are experiencing. And so you need to hear these verses that He is present. And even the darkness in your life is not dark to him, and he is not present for your harm. He is present for your good. His right hand will guide you, and he will continue to hold you fast. He dispels the darkness. He overcomes the darkness in your life. He's there for you, and he's there for that. And so you and I have this beautiful opportunity to lean into this presence of God. And maybe like you hear this, and as I was processing through this is one of the questions that I had to ask. I had to ask why. Why, right? Why? Because I know me, and I know why. Why would a God who knows me completely, good, bad, and the ugly, why, and who's always with me, no matter what's going on, and sees it all completely, why would he always be present in my life for my good? Why would he always be there to hold me fast? And the psalmist continues to celebrate this intimate relationship he has with God, and he answers the why question, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. I mean, God's the creator. He's the creator. And again, the big word in all this is that he is omnipotent. He's all powerful. Like all the power resides with him. And you've got to be omnipotent to be the creator of all, right? So he is omnipotent. But more than just being the all-powerful creator, he's the creator of me. He is the creator of me. He's the creator of us, but he is the creator of me. You created me in my mother's womb. You made me. And this isn't hyperbole. This isn't poetic expression. This is real. That he knit you together in your mother's womb, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And some of us have a really hard time seeing ourselves as valuable. We know what goes on inside of us, and we know the thoughts that we think, and we know the way that we've acted out on some of that stuff, and we know the stuff that we've done to other people, and we know the stuff that they have done to us, and we know what people in the world around us say about us, and we have a really hard time of thinking about ourselves as valuable. And the psalmist, I'm sure, if you read through the account of David, who is the psalmist in the Bible in his life, he was well aware of his shortcomings, and he was well aware of his vulnerabilities. In this moment, he's also well aware that he has been fearfully and wonderfully made by an omnipotent God. And he's celebrating the value that he has because of who created him. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. You saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. You were carefully created. You were carefully created by God Most High. You were carefully created by God Most High. There are 8 billion people alive on our planet right now. Each one of them carefully created by God Most High. This is an astounding thought. I mean, it's hard enough just that every person who's ever lived carefully created by God Most High. This is why we affirm the value of preborn people. They're being knit together in their mother's womb. This is why we affirm the value of people who maybe the world around us looks at us and says, what kind of contribution can they make to society? This is why we affirm the value of people who don't look like us or don't act like us or don't fit in some of the places where we fit in. Like this is the start, like this statement is the start of our passion for biblical justice, for people who who are carefully, like each one of us is carefully created in the image of God. Like he has made you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And you have to know that about yourself, that you have been carefully created by God Most High. And because you are his careful and beloved creation, he wants to know. Like he is watching over you, and he is present, fully engaged with you for your good. This statement is an explanation, but it's really a celebration of the kind of relationship that God wants to have with you for no reason other than he carefully created you. He's desired this relationship with you, and he wrote the story of your life, and you get to help write it too. He desires this kind of relationship with you. He's engaged in this relationship with you, not because of what you've done or not because of who you've become. He loves you because he made you. And then the psalmist continues to go on. Verses 17 and 18, there's more celebration. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they'd outnumber the grains of the sand. When I awake, I'm still with you. So here's what you got to know. Like, God thinks about you a lot. He thinks about you way more than you think about him, right? And he's thinking about you. And to know that he's thinking about you for your good. And he's written the story of your life before it came to be, and with you, he's writing the story of your life as it plays out now based on how you're responding in your relationship with him. How precious to me are your thoughts, oh God. If you would think about me, that you pay attention to me, that you engage my way, God thinks about you a lot. And then we hit this section of the psalm. This section intrigues me. At first, it feels so out of place. So like we've been having this sweet meditation on the intimacy that we can experience with God and our relationship with him. And then the psalmist, like it feels like this massive left turn. If only you, God, would slay the wicked. Away from me, you who are bloodthirsty. They speak of you with evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. Do I not hate those who hate you, Lord, and abhor those who are in rebellion against you? I have nothing but hatred for them. I count them my enemies. You feel the left turn, right? Like we just feel it's just been this sweet meditation on the intimacy we have with God, and now all of a sudden we're wishing people were dead. And so here's what's happened here. So this is a little section of the psalm that's actually has a title. It's called an imprecatory prayer. And I talked about imprecatory prayer. So this summer with the Psalms, this is summer 2, last summer. On July 1st, last summer, we talked about Psalm 109. It's still on the website. We talked about an imprecatory prayer and talked about all these things. So here's what, for sake of time, here's what you need to hear in this little meditation that we're experiencing with the psalmist and rejoicing in his relationship with God and the intimacy that they have. God, I am with you. You chose me, and I am choosing you. You've drawn close to me, and I am drawn close to you. And those people who declare themselves to be your enemy, like they're my enemy too. Psalmist isn't acting out on any of this stuff. He's not moved towards any of these people. He's looked at how people treat this God who loves him and is in relationship with him. And he's like, how can you be that way? How could they be that way? God, I'm with you. It's this beautiful expression of loyalty. It's this beautiful expression of loyalty. God, I'm with you. You see me and you know me completely, and I am always in your presence, and I couldn't get away if I tried, and it's always for my good, and you have made me. You carefully created me, and you're writing the story of my life, and I'm with you. I'm with you in that. And then this psalm begins to wrap up. It ends remembering, okay, so remember how it started. Remember the first verse, the verse. You've searched me and you know me. Here's how it ends. Search me, O God. Know my heart. Test me. Know my anxious thoughts. See if there's any offensive way in me. Lead me in the way everlasting. You've searched me and you know me. I'm for that. Like I am open to that. I want more of that. Search me, God, Do it again. Right, search me again. Let's stay here. The deepest parts of who I am. Search me, God. Know my heart. Test me. Know my anxious thoughts. I love the invitation into knowing the stuff I'm anxious about. I don't have to hide any of that stuff. I don't have to pretend like it's not there. God, like step into the mess, step into the stuff that I'm worried about, step into the stuff that I'm afraid of. Like, see if there's any offensive way in me and lead me in the way everlasting. So how this psalm lands, how it ends up, this is where I really hope it lands for you. These words on the screen, I think, really are your words for this week. This is the prayer for this week. Search me, God. Know my heart. I'm open. I'm open. I'm open to you. Where it's comfortable, where it's good, where I hope you're good with me, I'm good with you. This works for my busy life. Like, I'm not good with that anymore. Search me, God. Know my heart. Test me. Test me, like, know my anxious thoughts. Step into that, lean into all that. If there's anything offensive in me, like, see if there's anything offensive in me. And my deep desire is that I could have life. Lead me in the way that is everlasting. And this is not just a prayer that you pray one time and you check the box and you keep moving on in your life. This is something you need every day. Every day you need this God who sees you, this omnipotent, all-powerful, all-knowing, all-wise God who carefully created you. You need him to keep moving towards you, to keep moving into your life. Test my anxious thoughts. See if there's anything offensive and lead me in the way you want me to live. Lead me in the way you want me to live. Jesus promised that you and I and him get to experience abundant life. So search me, know my heart, test me, oversee my anxious thoughts, step into all that, and lead me in the way that's everlasting. So here's how we're gonna wrap up this service together. So the worship team's gonna come back out. Just a moment, they're gonna sing this song over you. It's Psalm 139. It's our psalm. It's a beautiful expression of this psalm, and it is a beautiful prayer for us in this moment. So I'm gonna invite you just to let them sing this over you, for you to pray this prayer that's on the screen, to invite God to give more of himself to you, you give more of yourself to him, and let's enjoy and be able to celebrate intimacy with our Creator God.
Jesus, my worship, everything is brighter. I see a picture of what I can be. My life will never flee from what I see. Your heart is my desire. Child you see. numerous are the thoughts you think of me. Could anybody count them? They are greater than the sands by the sea. Where can I run from your love? You search me and know all my heart. If I climb to the heights, you'll be there. If I make my bed in hell, you'll lead me home. You'll lead me home. Lead me home. I open up my heart, please search me through. Does anything displease you? Lead me in the way of your cross. Where can I run from your love? You search me and know all my heart. If I climb to the heights, you'll be there. If I make my bed in hell, you'll lead me home.
So, Lord, thank you for searching us and knowing us. We're leaning into that together. Welcome that. May these be our words this week. Thank you for moving towards us, for loving us, for being here for our good. We're puzzled by that. We're amazed by that. Don't fully understand it, but we are saying yes to this. We want more of you. We want you to have more of us. We want more of the life you give. Lead us in the way everlasting. Jesus, that comes to us through you, so we pray these things in your name. Amen.